A very warm regards to everyone. Thanks for the amazing response to our new activity. Uh, I'll start scanning the stocks for you. So first is deepaknitrate for May series. It is currently in a consolidation. There's no momentum right now. The zone is between 1750 to 1790 levels. Above this, we can see 1810 levels and 1840 levels. On a hourly chart, it's forming an inverted head and shoulder, as you can see here. So 1840 is the neckline of inverted head and shoulders. So once it crosses above 1800, we can see 1840 levels, and above 1840, the next target would be 1865 and 1890. I'm not expecting much movement right now. I'll look into it after it goes above 1800. So keep a watch on price action here. Next is Alok. So Alok industry has been consolidating near this zone of 18 to 27. So any range is broken above 27, you can look out for 33 and 41. Below 18, we can see 15 levels and 12 levels. So look to enter above 27 once it goes into momentum. Right now, I won't suggest to enter. Next is takesolutions. Takesolution has given is about to give a weekly breakout, ascending triangle. So if we get a close above 68, we can look to enter. We have already got a very high volume here. So above 68 on a weekly closing is a good breakout level to add. The targets would be 90 and 110. Stop loss would be near 56 levels on a weekly closing basis. Next is greenply. So greenply is near an important resistance here of 230 to 240. So once we get a close above 240, we can see 250 and 270 levels. Stop loss would be around 210 levels. It looks good here. It's in a momentum uptrend. So you can look to add about 240. Next is bergerpaints. So bergerpaints is an uptrend and it has been consolidating for a while now. It's been in a consolidation zone. So you can look to add above 810 levels on a daily closing basis because it hasn't closed above 810 in both of the occasions. So daily closing above 810 is a good level to add. The support would be at 780 levels and the targets would be 860 and 910. Next is aartidrugs. Aartidrugs hasn't given a breakout here and it has also posted bit bad numbers. So you can look to add near 700 levels if you get, with a small stop loss of 670, and then you can look out to add once it gets into momentum above 830 levels. So it's currently in a consolidation, so there's no worry here. Next is EKC. So EKC is currently consolidating near its Fibonacci, golden Fibonacci ratio. So these are the levels. Above 114 on closing basis, it will start its uptrend, and below 98 on closing basis, we can see 92.87 levels. Next is rain. $195 to $230 is an important zone here. About 230, we can see 280 levels and 320 levels. So once we go above 195 zone, you can look to add in the SIP mode till 230, and then you can ride the trend till 280. Next is Princepipe for long term. So Princepipe is currently in an uptrend, and you should ride the trend right now. It's already given a nice 10x here. So I would like to ride the trend currently. You can look to add near, if there's a dip, you can look to add near 640 levels. It looks good for long term. There are no targets as of now, but ride the trend. Yeah. Relaxo. So Relaxo is an uptrend, and it has given a weekly breakout at 940 levels. So the targets would be around 1400 for a near term of 6 to 8 months, and one can look to add near 940 level once it retests the zone. So this is the zone, and once it retests near 940 levels, you can look to add. Next is camlinfine. Camlinfine has formed a higher low setup. So it's forming a higher high. So it's forming a higher low. So you can look to add near 150 levels with the stop loss at 135, 138 levels, and targets would be 195 to 10. Pokarna. Pokarna is about to give a monthly breakout. It's a 3-year multi-year breakout. So you can look to add about 325 on a weekly closing basis. And the targets would be for a long term would be around 500, 575, and the stop loss would be near 275. It's a long term call, so hold with patience, you will get the rewards. Time techno. So time techno is near the important resistance, and it is not able to cross it. So once you get a close above 85 levels, you can look to add here, and the targets would be 100 and 115. Stop loss would be at 70 levels. Rossari. So Rossari is trading in a channel, as you can see. It has been trading in a channel. So you can look to add near 1140 and 1150 levels with a stop loss of 1100, and the target should be 1250 and 1350. So you can look to add near this zone, and it will again go and does the above uptrend channel. Next is voltas. So voltas is forming inverted head shoulder. see. And it has been consolidating near the neckline with heavy volumes, which is usually good for an head and shoulder pattern, inverted head and shoulder pattern. On an hourly chart, it's also forming a VCP. It's forming a VCP too. So you can add about 1025, 1035 levels with a stop loss of 1015, and the targets would be 1065 and 1085. Next is IndiaMart. So IndiaMart is forming a higher high, higher low setup. And it has been giving a good momentum overall. So this is a higher high, higher low pattern, and so it has retraced from golden Fibonacci ratio 0.618 levels, which is 6,500 to 7,200 levels, and it has also formed a piercing candle at a support with the high volume, which is also a trend reversal pattern. So yeah, you can add above 7,900 for the target of 8,500, 9,200, and a new high. So above 10k it will last. So yeah, the long-term targets for me here would be 12,000 and 14,000 levels. Next is DMart. Even DMart is forming a higher high, higher low pattern. Higher low pattern on a weekly chart. On a daily chart, it has given a inverted head and shoulder breakout. It has broken out on heavy volumes, and it has been consolidating and removing weak holders. And there's earnings also in the next week. So even earnings would give or catalyst movement over here. So you need to watch what happens near this zone between 3,000 and 2950 levels. If it reverses from here, you can look to add about 3060 levels for a target of 3150, 3230, and 3300 levels. the stop loss would be just below 2920 levels. Next is Adaniport for 4 weeks. So Adaniport is facing a high resistance at 795 levels. It's also forming an ascending triangle with the low overhead supply. Let me see if it's forming a VCP or not. So yeah, it's also forming a VCP. So above 795, it will give a nice momentum, and the targets would be 840 and 860 levels above 795, and the stop loss would be at 780 levels. Next is Tirumalaichemicals. So Tirumalaichemicals has recently given a breakout. You can see here's the breakout. Inverted head and shoulder breakout with a heavy volume. So you can add near 130 levels, between 120 and 130 levels, with a stop loss of 105, and the targets would be 160 to 175 levels, and the next target would be near 205 levels. Next is Tata Coffee. So Tata Coffee is near a multi-year resistance. So above 185, 190 levels on a weekly closing basis, it will give a breakout, and the targets would be around 240 levels, and the stop loss would be near 150 levels. Next is MMTC. We had done this in previous sessions also. So it has given a flag breakout on a heavy volume, and it is now retesting the zone. So you can add near 49 levels again on a weekly closing basis, and the targets would be 61 and 71. The stop loss would be very low, so it would be 46. So risk reward is very good here. Next is Glandpharma. So Glandpharma has broken the trend line. It has given a breakout over here, and now it's retesting the breakout on lower volumes. So 2950 and 3000 levels would be the level to look for buy on dip with a stop loss at 2850 levels, and target would be 3300 and 3500. Next is Bata. So Bata is forming an ascending triangle on a weekly chart, and it is also forming a cup and handle pattern over here. It had also formed a morning star near the support levels. So here it had formed morning star, and now it has broken this range of 1385 levels on a weekly basis, and now it's trading at 1485. On daily chart also, it had given a ascending triangle breakout, if you see. So here it was an ascending triangle breakout, and yeah. So now the next support, next resistance on daily chart would be at 1550 levels. Above this, we can see 1600 levels, 1600 and 1620. So currently, ride the trend till 1550, and then if you look, if you want to add, so you can add above 1550 with a stop loss at 1510 levels. Next is idea. So currently it's near a support zone, and it has been consolidating for a while now. So 7 to 8.2 levels is a support zone here. So you should look for a price action. What happens here? If it goes below 7, you can see 6 and 5, and above 13 you can see 1750 and 20. M&M. So M&M has a resistance at 1000 levels and 50,000 levels, and it is also forming a up and handle over here. And it has given a bullish engulfing at the support on a weekly chart with a heavy volume. So you can look to add above 830 levels, and the stop loss would be at 725, and the targets here would be 875 and 950. So above 1000, it will give a great move for 1500 and 1700 levels. It will do good and bullish here. Next is Larsen and Toubro. So LNT is forming a inverted head and shoulder over here. It's forming an inverted head and shoulder over here. So one can look to add above 1450 levels with a stop loss at 1385, and the targets would be 1525 and 1600. Above 1600 you should look to add again with a stop loss of 1460, and then the targets would be around 2000 and 2200 levels. Next is National Aluminium. So National Aluminium is facing a resistance at 80 levels and it has not able to reach it. So now the Fibonacci support is at 60 to 66 levels. You can see even it has been a consolidation zone over here in previous times also. So you can look to add near 66, 62 levels. And again, if you see, if it comes near this level, you need to be careful. 57, 61 level. So this is a support on a long-term basis, 57, 61 levels, and the resistance is at 80. So now you need to watch what happens over here. If it goes above 80, you can see 90 and 97 levels, and below 57, you can see 49 levels and 42 levels. Currently, I'm bullish over here in a metal sector. So if you get a good price action over here near 57, 60 levels, you should add. Next is JSWsteel for 1 month. So before going to JSWsteel, I would like to analyze cnxmetal for you. So as you can see, it has been consolidating near the support zone. So this is the support zone of 4875 and 5040 levels, and it has been bouncing back from this levels. So again, it's near this level, and now we should see how it acts here. Above 5150 on closing basis, daily closing basis, we can see a good momentum in metal sector. So yeah, below 4850 you should be careful in metal sector. Rest, it's bullish, so I'm also bullish on metal sector. So let's now analyze metal stocks which have been asked by you. So we'll start with JSWsteel. So JSWsteel is it's bouncing back from the support levels. The buyers are coming in near the support levels, and we are getting a huge wick over here. That means a buyer are interested in this zone. So again, we are at support, so you should look to add with a small stop loss of 665 on closing basis. and the targets would be 730 and 760 levels. Next is sale. So if you look, all metal stocks are forming same pattern as metal index. So while analyzing any stock, you should first try to see the index, how it's performing, and then you can try to analyze the stock, and it will help you in earning well. So yeah, again, sale is taking a support near this zone. You should look to add above 125, and the targets would be 135 and 145 levels. Stop loss would be at 116. It's a very good setup over here. So yeah, you can look to add above 125. Next is Tata Steel. Again, a same pattern. So 1050 to 1100 level is a good support over here, and one should look to add over here. And the targets would be 1200 and 1250. About 1250, we can see 1300 levels, 1300, 1350. Next is hindcopper. So hindcopper has given a breakout on a daily chart, and it has been retesting this zone on a lower level, lower volumes. So one can look to add around 165 levels or above 175 levels with a small stop loss at 160 levels, and the targets would be 185 and 200. Next are IT stocks. So first we'll analyze IT index. Currently, IT index is in a consolidation zone. See here. So between, it's trading between 24,000 and 27,500 levels, and the support is at 25,200 and 2,400 levels. So it has been consolidating here. There's no much movement. So above 26,400, 26,500, we will see some momentum. So now let's analyze IT stocks. Start with Infosys. As you can see, Infosys is giving same momentum as the indexes. So again, I said, try to analyze the index first and then buy, then trade a stock, and it will help you achieve benefits. So as you can see, Infosys has given a very strong bullish candle near the support, and So now 1370 levels are very important over here. 1370 and 1380 levels. Above this, you will see 1410 and 1430. Would give a bullish stance over here. Below 1310, I'll be bearish, but currently it looks good to me. I'll see RSI as well. So as you can see, RSI is already broken out of the consolidation zone. So RSI is also is bullish here. So now you can look to add above 1370 as per my analysis, and you can ride the trend till 1410 and 1430 levels. I'm expecting 1500 levels very soon, and there's even a buyback news. So we'll see the momentum. Next is, let's say, HCL Tech. HCL Tech has bounced from the support levels. One can add near 940 levels with a stop loss at 895 on closing basis, and the targets would be 980 and 1020. Above closing above 1070 levels will give us a fresh high of 1500 on weekly basis. So one can ride the trend from 940 and keep pyramiding near the resistance when it gets broken. Next is TCS. So even TCS is in a consolidation zone. All IT stocks have been in a consolidation zone. TCS is even forming a cup and handle. On a weekly chart. So one can look to add about 3170 levels on weekly closing basis for a target of 3250 and 3350. The stop loss would be at 3000 levels. Next is TechM. So TechM is also consolidating in a asymmetrical triangle. So one can look to add above 1000 levels with a small stop loss at 980 for the targets of 1030 and 1050. Above 1075, we'll see 1130 and 1200. So once it breaks out above this trend line, you can look to add for a fresh momentum. Next is Tanla Solutions, Tanla platforms. So Tanla platform has been consolidating and forming a ascending triangle. One should look to add above 930 levels, and the safe entry would be about 980 levels, and the stop loss would be at 820 levels. So I'm expecting a movement of around 500 points above 1000 levels. So we can see 1250 and 1500 levels once it goes above 1050 levels. So if you want to add, I'll suggest you to add about 980 with the stop loss at 820 Subex. So currently Subex has formed an evening star pattern over here, which is a trend reversal pattern. So let's see the Fibonacci retracement where it can happen. One can look to add near 46, 47 levels with a stop loss at 42. The evening star would get invalidated if we get a close above 68. So you need to look at the price action, and one can add the dip near 46 levels. Next is HFCL. So we analyzed this a few sessions back, that it is forming inverted head and shoulder, and it has given a breakout or monthly breakout. So now the targets here would be, fresh targets would be 55 and 57 levels. Above that, we'll need to analyze how it moves and what sort of price action it creates. So then we can look to add in a pyramid mode. Next is happiest mind. So happiest mind has formed a high low pattern, and it has bounced from the support as well. So one, and now it's trading in a inside bar. So one can look to add about 790 levels for a target of 865 and 945 level, and the stop loss would be at 695 levels. Next is nucleus software. So on a long-term chart, nucleus software has formed a very bullish pattern, which is an ascending triangle. So, and you can see it has also formed a VCP on a monthly chart, and it's a very bullish pattern. And it had also formed a spinning bottom near this support level. So one can look to add between these levels of 550 and 650 levels with a support at 420 levels, and I would like to have a very long-term target. So one can expect 1000 and 1200 levels on a long-term basis. On a short-term basis, if it close above 650, we can see 650 and 670 levels, and the stop loss would be at 550. Next is Excel mock. So Excel mock is consolidating over here. There's no much movement. So one can add once it closes above 350 on a weekly basis, as it has not closed above 350 in any of the occasions. So a weekly close above 350 can see a target of 450 and 495, and the stop loss would be at 320 levels. Next is Jamana Auto. So Jamana Auto is at a very strong resistance zone. So 79 to 85 level is a very strong resistance zone. Above that, you can see above 85, you can see 90 and 100 levels. The stop loss would be at 75 levels. And once it starts trading above 100, we can see 120 and 145 levels. Next is Bharat Forge. So Bharat Forge has formed an inverted head and shoulder. And it has been consolidating near 550 and 700 levels for quite a few time. So yeah, if we get a weekly close above 700, it will start moving in a momentum, and we can see 785 levels and 850 levels very soon if we get a closing above 700. So I would suggest you to wait here as of now and look to add above 700. Next is Bajaj Auto. So Bajaj Auto is given a breakout, cup and handle breakout. So it has given a breakout on a daily chart, and it had also removed the weak holders by consolidating here for few days. So now I'm expecting it to test 4200 levels and 4300 levels. The stop loss should be near 3950 levels, and a fresh breakout would happen above 4300 levels on a daily closing basis. So one should see the price action near this zone and then add above 4300. Next is Coal India. If you see, Coal India is consolidating near this zone of 135, sorry, 155 to 160 levels, and it is even forming an inverted head and shoulder reversal. So one should look to add above 150, between 155 and 160 levels on a weekly closing basis, as it has never closed near this zone. So if it closes near that zone of 155 and 160, the first target would be 185 and 210, and the stop loss would be at 150 levels. Next is PFC. So PFC is trading in a single zone since its beginning, and now it has formed a kind of symmetrical triangle. It has formed a symmetrical triangle over here, and just see, if we get a close above 140 levels, so if we get a close above 140 levels, you can see 160 and 170 levels, and it is even forming a inverted head and shoulder over here. So FNO holders can look to add above 125 levels, and the stop loss would be at 118, and the targets would be at 130 and 140 levels. Above 140, you will see a breakout. Next is IOC. So as you can see, IOC has given a cup and handle pattern, but it has failed to close above 105, 107 level. So once we get a weekly close above this zone, we can see 120 and 125 levels. The stop loss would be at 100 levels. Next is BPCL. So BPCL is forming an ascending triangle and a VCP. So once we get a weekly closing above 465, 470 levels, we can see 510 and 535 levels. The stop loss would be at 440 levels. Next is Adani Power. So Adani Power has a resistance zone at 107 and 120 levels. So if we get a close above 107, we can see 120, and above 120, we'll see 140 and 150 levels, and the stop loss would be at 90. So one should look for a closing above 107 on a monthly basis. Yeah, so even it's forming an ascending triangle and the neckline is at 107. So one should look to add above 107. Next is PSU Bank. So PSU Bank has given an inverted head and shoulder breakout. So as we already discussed in previous sessions, 2,450 and 2,500 levels are the targets, and the next target about 2,500 would be 2,600. Next is Maharashtra Bank. So Maharashtra Bank has a resistance zone at 25 and 29 levels. So we have already got price near 25 levels. I would look to add once we get a monthly close above 25 levels. Currently, I'm not comfortable here to add, and it's also forming ascending triangle. So 26 to 27 levels is a preferable level to add with a stop loss at 2450, and the targets would be 30 and 35. Next is PNB. So PNB is in a consolidation for quite some time. It is even forming an inverted head and shoulder on a daily chart. So closing above 39 would be a preferable level to add for a target of 40 and 41.30. The stop loss would be at 37.30. Next is IDFC. So IDFC has a resistance at 71 and 61 zone. So this would be an important zone for a momentum, a make or break zone. For trading basis, one can look to add above 57 on a weekly basis, and stop loss would be at 50 to 50, and the targets would be 61 and 65. Next is IDFC First. IDFC First Bank. So as you can see, we had analyzed it in previous sessions. So IDFC First had formed a inverted head and shoulder as well as a VCP and ascending triangle. So now the 58 level is a very important takeout level. Above that you can see 62 and 66 levels, and the final target would be 69.50. The stop loss would be at 55. The last one is GOJ Financials. So GOG Financial, important, it has broken the resistance of 60 to 67 levels, and it has even closed above that. So now it will become a support. So any dip, any consolidation near this one should be added for a target of 81 and 90, and the stop loss would be at 60 levels. So I've covered all the stocks mentioned by you all, and now I'll like to analyze Bank Nifty and Nifty for all of you. So as we discussed earlier, So currently it has given an inverted head and shoulder breakout, and it on a Bank Nifty future, and on a Bank Nifty future, it has given a VCP breakout. So currently the bullish sector over here is banking sector, and one should try to trade banks in next few days, and you can earn well over here. Don't try to be short in banking. I'm expecting 36,500 and 38,000 levels on Bank Nifty futures. So yeah, on a Bank Nifty spot, it has also given a breakout. So yeah, now the resistance is at 35,000 levels. So that target would be 35,000, 36,500, 37,200, and a new high. And stop loss would be at 33,200. So if we by any chance we start trading below 33,200, we should get bearish here, and then the targets would be at 32,000, 31,700, and 31,000. So currently I'm not bullish. I'm not bearish on banking and financial. It will outperform other sectors in this week or next week. And I'm bullish on ICICI Bank and Bajaj Finance. So I'll analyze that for you too. So as you can see, ICICI Bank has given an inverted head and shoulder breakout. So now the important level to add would be 650 levels. So one can trade above 650 for short period of time, and the targets would be 675 and 695, and the stop loss would be at 630 levels. A very small stop loss. So one should ride this trend. And the next one is Bajaj Finance. So yeah, these. Bajaj Finance is forming an inverted head and shoulder, and one should look to add above 5750 for a target of 5850 and 5950. The stop loss would be at 5650. So now I'll go to Nifty. So as you can see, Nifty gave a breakout, inverted head and shoulder breakout, and a flag descending triangle breakout. It retested the breakout, and it again started its journey. So now the resistance is at 15,300 and 15,440, and these are my potential targets for Nifty. And I'm expecting a new high by Friday, and might be a short-term top, which is, and the date is 28th or 29th. So currently Nifty might make a top between 26th and 28th, and then start correcting. So have a right to go wrong. So please trade as per consulting your financial advisors. And I'm done with the analysis. Thank you. And you can follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you.